Okay, today I'm going to talk about the Kubota L35 adjustable seat base. The L35 is one of those machines that it came with this adjustable seat base that really was supposed to make using the backhoe or the tractor itself an easy task, right? There's no second seat on the backhoe. So what they did was they designed a seat that you could set in two different positions, right? There's a driving position, which is the normal way you would see it. Then there's the backhoe position, which to get it in that position is not something that's super obvious when you first jump on one of these. So these seats or the seat bases that are adjustable over the years, they take a pretty good beating because people just don't know how to use them. And what happens is they end up forcing the seat to go where they want to, or they'll try to force it, and then once they can't get it to move, they'll try to figure out how it really works. And so what will happen is you'll get the springs on the bottom that tend to go missing, or you'll get a broken spring tensioner rod, which is this guy here. And you'll also get the lever that pulls in or out, which is this guy over here, will snap right off, and then people really don't know, what to do then at that point. Long story short is that when you go to get parts for these on the Kubota site, or if you go on some other online sites to get parts for Kubotas, these are not available, right? They're discontinued, they don't make them, and you're kind of out of luck, right? Now, even if you could find an entire new seat base, I think it's about $2,500 to find this new. And if you can find one, you're lucky enough, you're looking at $2,500 plus tax and whatever else you have to pay to get it to your house, right? So you obviously don't want to do that. But what I'm going to show you today is a way where if you have missing springs or a broken or missing tensioner bar, how you can do this yourself and kind of make it work, right? So first thing I wanted to show you as a tip is that if you're looking for these springs, they're discontinued, like I said, so you can't get them on the Kubota sites. But if you wanted a replacement, aftermarket replacement for these springs, the ones you can get that worked great for me were found at Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply carries these. They come in packs of 2, so you get 2 springs, and that's what you need. And here is the part number from Tractor Supply if you need to get these springs. I want to say they were less than $10 for 2 springs, which is obviously a fair price. So that's the first thing. If you're looking for the springs on this, and I'll tell you what, if you don't have the springs on this and the right ones, this will never work right. And that is really the reason why people tend to break these, because the springs aren't working or they're not strong enough, they're tired. So do yourself a favor, get some brand new springs, and then what you'll notice that this thing kind of is supposed to pop right up, right? It does. So you can go back and forth and it pops right up and it stays up. That's what you want. That is the key to getting this assembly to work properly, is to get these springs in the right tension, and of course new ones if you can find them. And again, Tractor Supply carries an aftermarket set of springs that worked great, and that's the part number there. The other tip I can offer you is that a lot of times this tension bar, which is actually just a bar that sits here and the springs connect to it, the purpose of this tension bar is really when the seat base goes up or down or forward and backwards, it puts more tension on the springs, which then forces this assembly to come back out of that position so you can change positions easily. That will sometimes break off completely. And that happens because someone has gotten to the point where they couldn't figure out how to use the seat, and they've broken either the bracket which holds the tension bar or the tension bar itself. Now, you can't get the tension bar assembly. You could when it was in stock back in the day. You could get this whole assembly, and it wasn't too bad. It was $150 for that, because obviously that was a pretty common thing to break. But if you can't find that, which you won't be able to, at least not easily, you can actually put a bolt in there. So let's say this breaks and it's broken the assembly completely off on the other side. You can take a grade 5 bolt, or even a regular grade 3 bolt will be fine, and you can put it in there, right? So again, this is Tractor Supply bolt. I put it through, and I put a couple welds on the other side just to hold that bolt into the bracket. So now I've got a brand new tension bar in there, but really it's just a heavy duty bolt that fits in there. And it's probably about a 6-inch or an 8-inch bolt, right? So it's not It's not hard to find. That's an off-the-shelf bolt at Tractor Supply. So that's a second tip I can offer you. Those are very common issues on these. The other very common issue is this little adjustment lever here. This a lot of times will break. The rod will snap. For one reason or another, it snaps. If that happens, you can basically take a tap, or I should say a die, and you can rethread the rod where it broke, and then you can easily put the handle or the nut back on there. Usually when it breaks, it'll leave a couple, 2 or 3 threads in there, and believe it or not, the steel on the old Kubotas is just unbelievably durable, especially the L35. You could get this nut on here with 3 or 4 threads, and then you could easily thread a piece of rod through here and make this all work, right? But let's say that was too far gone, you don't want to bother with this. This is just a regular rod, so you can buy threaded rod. That would be fine from Tractor Supply. And you could make up your own rod to go in there. That's fairly straightforward, but usually what happens is they just break right here because people break them off at the handle. And you can usually make it work if you have a couple threads on either side. So that's really strong steel. Try to do that first. If not, you can get some threaded rod over at Tractor Supply, Home Depot, one of those stores. So that is pretty much it for tips. The way these work, I can show you the proper way to do this. When the seat base is down, you do not want to swivel this. You're not supposed to swivel this when it's down in the regular position. And the way it'll be down in the regular position is if you were to push this down. See how it locks? So now this is in the regular tractor, position. You don't want to swivel it, and the way you swivel it is you just pull this lever over here, and the whole thing turns. But you notice that it doesn't really, well, it does turn, but typically you don't want to swivel it when it's down because that's usually when it gets a little tricky to figure out, right? Okay, so that's the advice. When the seat's down like this, you're not really supposed to swivel it. You can do it when the seat's off because there's clearance, but when the seat's on and you're on the machine, or if there's any weight on the assembly, this will not swivel easily, and it will become quickly not something that you'll be able to do easily. So the trick to get this to swivel is to first release the tension and let the assembly rise to the upright position. And to do that, all I did was pull the lever forward, this guy here, pull it forward, and then just let it pop right up. Once it's up, then you can easily swivel this thing all day long, right? This is no problem. So you're on the machine, it's up in the air, you're standing next to the assembly and you swivel it. You're on the ground, you can do it. The seat's away from anything that it can get hung up on, and that's really how you want to do it. So to go back the other way, you would simply pull the lever and let it go, back. Now, when you want to use the backhoe, so the first step is to let it come up with this lever here, pull forward, and then swivel the seat, which is this guy, and then you're going to just drop it right down to the back position. And it's going to stay just like that. I'm going to hold it because it's going to tip over because the weight of the assembly is pushing towards the back. But that's it. You're in backhoe mode, and to get out of that, you're going to push in on that lever right there and let the assembly come back up, and then spin the seat, right? You don't want to really spin the seat when it's down or in the backhoe position because it's just going to get hung up on stuff all around it. Okay, so now I got it up again. I pushed in, it came right up, and then it clicks back down, and then I push it back down, and I'm in regular mode again with the tractor. So that's the tip I can offer as far as usage. Always raise the seat in the center position, swivel it second, and then drop it third. Just the opposite to put it back in the non-backhoe position. So you would raise it, you'd swivel it, you drop it, third step. So that is how you use this. If you do it that way, and another trick too is when you're on the machine, if you want to raise it and you're facing forward, it's out, pull it towards the front of the machine. And if it's in the back, push it towards the back of the machine. So those are a couple of things where if you know that and you go to use this, these are super easy to use and they will never break, right? They're really super durable. It's only when you don't know how to use these is when you tend to start breaking things or bending things, and then they fail. And once they fail, it's $2,500, and you don't want to be having to replace them, and you can't find them either because they're very hard to find. They're not made anymore. Okay, so I hope this helps you out. If you need any more advice on these, if you have a broken one, feel free to reach out. More than happy to help people.